Welcome
to the Mommy and
Me Show!
Welcome to Me Show. Today we'll be talking about Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah, why did we go to Salem?
Because my dad wanted to.
Yes, so this show should definitely be dedicated to the one and only, our great producer, the founder, the creator of Your Nerd Side, and the Fonseca Show, Aaron Fonseca. And this best production is Wonderful Children as well. All right, so what was the first place? So what's Salem, Massachusetts known for?
For witches.
Witches. So yeah, so in 1692 there was a Salem witch trials, and it's about 40 minutes outside of Boston, and we did what is there actually a museum called?
Yeah,
there is.
Also they also killed them.
So there actually was. You remember some of the ways that they torture the people they claim were witches in Salem?
They put them in fire. They hung them on a piece of wood so they would choke.
Now, one person was burnt.
Yeah, nobody was burned. A lot of people thought, but there was some places. It was Joan of Arc in Europe who was burnt.
All the burnings and the hangings in the water was all Europe. In the U.S., in New England, Salem, all they did was hang them, or they put rocks in their chest to make them confess.
So, everyone, welcome. You're hearing the infamous Aaron Fonseca. I believe it's only one person who was pressed to death, from what I read. And there was even a 6-month-old child who died in the prison over there. 6 months. So, one thing a lot of people don't realize is that there was someone named, I'm probably going to say the name wrong, Tituba, who was a black woman who shared some of her stories. It's not clear, right, whether she was from the Caribbean or South America, but she just shared some folk tales. And then who started all these witch trial information? Who started all this? Why did people think all these people were witches? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember because I technically forget the whole thing.
It was pretty much these girls spreading rumors, having these seizures, and saying that certain women, even this old lady who was a strong advocate. So a lot of times, what I told you is that a lot of women who had strong voices back then were condemned, and including their family members, even if they did nothing wrong. So as a kid who went to the Salem witch trial, I mean, not the witch trial, but the witch museum that showed an enactment, right? Your dad thought it'd be animatronics, but they had voices, right? You sound a little bit disappointed. Where you wish they were animatronics?
Yeah.
They were? Okay, how would you rate just the Salem Witch Museum? What do you think about the Witch Museum, where they talked to you about the story, about all the trials? What were your thoughts?
2.
It was a 2. Why was it such a low rating? Learning about torture and death.
I was going to give it a 1, but because they had some seats, so I gave it a 2. And because they didn't have electronics and stuff, and it was really messed up, and then we had to keep on moving our heads around. It was kind of annoying.
And I wouldn't say they were the friendliest people there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was it was just very glooming, very, I don't know, Puritan-like, but it was more of a history lesson. Okay, but that is not the only thing to do in Salem, right? Yeah. So there was no harbor tours, but definitely in Salem and Boston, I wasn't allowed to go to any psychic or spiritual growth readings. There is some heritage trails. What other things can you do in Salem? Do you remember some of the other stuff that you could do in Salem?
You can make a broomstick, but it was closed. Mm-hmm. So it was really pretty messed up. But everything was technically closed, so I don't really know what else.
Okay, so in February is not the best time to go, but go ahead.
I know that there's a walk for 2 hours, and you can walk through and then someone's gonna tell you about the whole thing.
Yeah, so there was the Salem Heritage Trail. There's a ghost trail. So there's a lot of evening trails for about 2 hours. They'll show you pictures of ghosts that look like Diana Ross. We actually went to one restaurant, but I want to talk about some of the other things before we talk about the Lady in Blue. So yeah, there's for non-witch stuff, there's the Peabody Excess Museum. There's literally the Witch Trials Memorial where all the graveyards were. That's where we went to. You will see some of the original houses there and the wax museums as well too. I'm so glad we did not go to the Satanic Temple. Good Lord. But there's a lot, if you really like witches, there's a lot of little shops, but he is right. And then there was one thing. Do you remember a statue that's over there in Salem?
Oh yeah, I remember that comic book store. That was the best.
What? Okay, so there's a great big comic book store next to the Bewitched statue based on a TV series because Bewitched was there for 2 days, right? I think
I forgot about that.
That's okay.
I thought you meant like the comic book.
But talk about the comic book store. There was a lot of comic book stores in Salem. So, so what made that comic book store so awesome?
Because it was so huge and it had everything I wanted.
They have a lot of items, a lot of toys. So yeah, if you're a comic book person, that'd be fine. There's so many stuff, whether it be Frankenstein's castle, street cemeteries, urban art, yes, the broom making, book binding, tarot shows, so many. New England Pirate Museum, the House of Seven Gables. That's really important. I don't know why it's important. Do you remember what the House of Seven Gables was? Even your dad didn't want to go, which was shocking. Do you remember why? No, he did not. But we did spend a lot of time, doing. One thing is on the Old Town Meeting House. Do you remember one of the things we were at the Old Town Meeting House?
No, not really.
So February is Black History Month. And there's a lot of people from Salem, Massachusetts that said that there was a lot of advocacy for civil rights that was made over there for voting rights, because not all blacks were allowed to vote. Ever since, for over 200 years, they were forced from their native lands over here. And there is a gentleman who is one of the first revolutionary heroes from the Boston Massacre. Do you remember the Boston Massacre when we went back to Boston, the old meeting house?
No.
So there's a picture of the redcoats, right? Where they were shooting people who were defenseless, and one of them, I'm going to say the name wrong, Atticus was one of the. Atticus is a national hero that a lot of people forget about. He voluntarily went over there to talk about independence and rights, and he was one of the first revolutionary heroes that Atticus was not. And there is actually some books, and so there is a museum in Salem. There's a lot of other history about the harbor, so they just want to make sure that everyone's aware that it's not just about witches. But did you, right? Now, did you see the picture that your dad showed you? How crowded it gets in Halloween in the month of October?
Yeah.
How packed is it?
So packed that they have to tell people to leave.
It is. I think they say it's $1,000 a night to stay there. And if you do go out there, do know there is a Salem Kids Tours. You go to salem.org. There's a lot of information, but I've probably been better. Would you rather do the kids tour or the Black Cat tours?
Kids tours.
The kid tours. So there is one story. Do you want to tell the story about the lady in blue?
No, I forget the whole story.
You forgot the whole story because it was so freezing cold, right?
No, it's just I forget things.
Guess how cold it is right now in Boston?
It's 20. No, that's in Salem.
In Salem right now. Sorry, we're talking about Salem. How cold was it?
I think it was 27.
It is 27 degrees. Yeah, so it was pretty cold that one night. So if you go to the I think it's Rockefeller. I want to say Rockefeller, but Rocheller, something like Rockefeller restaurant.
Yeah.
Outside there was a young lady who was enslaved for a year, and she was trying to leave with her loved one, and unfortunately the person that had the contract for her being enslaved found out and killed her, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then they think that they buried her inside the wall of this building alive, right? It's a restaurant and a hotel up the stairs, correct?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been still hear her today. What was Mommy saying at the restaurant?
You had a cold breeze.
I had a constant cold breeze that nobody else felt. And you and your dad and your brother, Andre, went upstairs, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did you guys see?
Like, for a wedding place up there. Like, for a wedding.
Yeah, so there was a banquet hall, and then there was and they did a terrible painting of a lady in blue. She looked like a cocktail singer.
Like a hooker in blue.
Yeah, this is a PG show. Mr. Fonseca, you probably heard it in the background, said something else. And was it scary upstairs?
No.
No, did you feel anything?
No.
Maybe the lady blue was just being nice. But what happened that night when your dad got home after seeing the hotel where the lady in blue is?
She got a cold breeze.
Yeah, throughout the whole night he was so cold, and he was not able to go to sleep. So it's like the lady in blue was following me. But if you don't get the lady in blue experience, don't worry about it. They had the lady in blue drink, which was not so bad. All right, anything else you want to say about Salem, Massachusetts?
No.
All right, so if you want it more of a quiet time, go during the winter season. If you want to go where it's crazy and packed, what month should you go?
Halloween.
Right, the month of October. Okay, guys, until next time.
Well, first off, I think you should go there on September 31st, because I think that's the best day to go to Salem.
September 31st doesn't exist, so you mean September 30th?
Okay.
Right, because how many days are in February?
31.
28.
September?
February. But September is only 30.
Yeah.
And, I forgot. Out of 1 to 10, what would you give just visiting Salem in general?
A 7.
A 7. Wow, you had a good time. Because I think your dad's going to go there again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see who he takes in the month of October.
Actually, I'll give it like 7.5.
Oh, you actually really had a good enjoyment over there, right?
Besides my feet.
Besides your feet. Yeah, but then you got brand new shoes out of it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some cool.
Well, that was the next day.
The next day, right? Yeah, there's not nice boutiques, right? Jesse got some yarn for knitting and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of cool little stuff here and there. But you got some nice new red Under Armour shoes, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, until next time.
Bye.